Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the Public Safety and Emergency Service Committee to order. The time is now 3:30. A copy of the agenda for this meeting can be found on the county website under the tab for the legislature. Please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. And at this time, I'd like everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner, would you like to start us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Carrie Ann, would you like to do the attendance, please?
Sutherland. Here. Ramos. Sierra.
Here.
Sassy.
Here.
Cheney.
Here.
Skevich.
Here.
DeGanga.
Here. All right, so first on our agenda is the Department of Emergency Services and Emergency Communication, and we have Commissioner Sorigliano and Deputy Commissioner Schmidt. Request to accept and appropriate funds from the 2025 Next Generation NG 911 Grant Program. The funding is provided and administered by the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. The performance period is for 5 years, beginning 9/1/2025 to 8/31/2030. Funds to be utilized for Emergency Service Division of 911 to have a comprehensive emergency call handling solution, which Next Generation 911 National Emergency Number Association I3 standards, including all hardware, software, implementation, support, maintenance, warranties, cloud-based services, along with cybersecurity, managed detection and response. It's for the amount of $1,639,396, and it's legislative request number 350.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to defer to Deputy Commissioner Greg Schmidt to expound on the Next Gen 911 program.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Like you said, this is for a layman's terms to replace the 911 phone system, which has an average lifespan of about 5 years from beginning to end before it's no longer supported. You're probably wondering what Next Gen 911 is. It includes video, better location for locating people. And on top of that, the bigger part is to meeting standards and to have a EZNet network, which is connecting everybody together in the back end, which is different than how it works now.
Okay, fantastic. Does anybody have any questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Pete, can you just tell us, I saw the announcement from the county exec about your new hire?
Sure. The county executive announced yesterday that Alan Mack, as you all know, will be retiring at the end of this year, actually effective January 2nd, 2026 will be Alan's last day. Alan has done a tremendous job. I think it's nearly 10 years as Deputy Commissioner of Emergency Management for Orange County, highly decorated military veteran, and just does an outstanding job and deserves all the best in his retirement, well-earned retirement at this stage. So that being said, Captain Art Warden will be coming from the New York State Police. He's currently the Zone 2 commander out of Troop F. Has 20 years of experience in law enforcement, is a local resident here in Orange County, grew up in the Minnesink area, went to Minnesink Valley High School, has family in the area, is very rooted here in Orange County. I think he's going to do an outstanding job. He's handled large-scale incidents in the past, emergency incidents, large-scale incidents on a law enforcement side of things, heavily involved in operations with West Point, presidential detail, motorcades. So I think he's going to be an outstanding fit. It's a great choice. I wholeheartedly support the county executive's decision on Art Warden being the next Deputy Commissioner for Emergency Management.
Must be something about being captain from Troop F, huh?
I don't know. It's a good place to be.
Yes, yeah.
A lot of experience.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have District Attorney's Office. I think we have Mr. Dorr. Letter A, request to accept and appropriate funds of the Aid to Prosecution Program grant from the Department of Criminal Justice Services for the period of 4/1/2025 through 3/31/2026. The funds of the Aid to Prosecution Program grant helps offset the cost of Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Services that the county has and will incur. It's in the amount of $1,219,416. It's legislative request 352. Rob, in a second. Jen. Okay.
So this is an annual grant that we've gotten for a long time, although in the last 4 years, the money has gone up significantly because of the states recognizing the additional problems and expenses with prosecution offices such as ours. We currently use some of the money to purchase equipment and some of it to offset the salaries of additional personnel in order to comply with the additional requirements on us.
Okay, any questions from anybody? And thank you for stumbling on almost that same word. We feel better. Okay, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Anybody against? All right, thank you. Letter B is request to accept and appropriate funds of the Criminal Justice Discovery Reform Grant from the Department of Criminal Justice for the period of 4/1/25 to 3/31/2026. The funds of the Criminal Justice Discovery Reform Grant support local law enforcement agencies with reimbursement of expenses related to the implementation of discovery and bail reforms that took effect January 1st, 2020. The amount is in $1,751,292. It's legislative request 351.
So
Second, Rob and Joe. Okay, if you can explain that.
Sure. This is another grant that we've received in prior years, although this one is the large amount of monies reflected the difficulty of the discovery laws, which required us to have additional personnel and also put into place different mechanisms for receiving increasingly large amounts of evidence, including digital evidence from police agencies, going through it and then giving that information over to defense attorneys on an expedited basis, while at the same time having to go through it to make sure that we're not turning over anything that's privileged or dangerous. Our office uses this money for some of it for salaries, but a large portion of it is also we're trying to build a digital infrastructure to make a lot of this happen more automatically. So I know the county's familiar with the NICE system. We're looking into purchasing a system called NICE, which will help take that into a data management rubric whereby we can use it to get it more automatically, which will save everybody time and be able to send it out expeditiously. Additionally, although the grant is coming through us, we work obviously closely with other agencies, including the Department of Probation. So 128,000 of the money that's in this amount is coming to the DA's office, but it's going to be used to fund a clerk's position in the probation office, which I'm sure Director Davidian will tell you about shortly.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Yes, legislator says.
Does she see any easing of the discovery and the state's requirements?
I don't see any easing of the discovery in terms of like new legislation. They did pass some legislation last year, which will help us out in court. So the original language in the statute was we had to turn over anything related to the case, which could mean anything, especially in the digital world. So person walks in the police department and there's a digital camera, being held by the town. Is that something we have to retrieve and turn over? They changed the word related to relevant, which helps us make legal arguments, but we still have this huge amount of things to turn over. speaking just for myself, not for Dave or the office, I'm actually optimistic based on what I've seen about some of the digital solutions that will help the police agencies automatically take things like body worn camera, be able to put them in silos that'll get pulled over to us quickly. And I think that the implementation of it's going to get easier, but the statutes aren't going to get any easier.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing nobody else.
I got-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you guys looking into any AI automation with this? Because I mean, an investigator got to go through all this video.
Generally, it's a prosecutor who's the final line of going through it. There's some AI in terms of being able to, and I'm not a digital guy, but the digital guys you work like pull it from this silo and that silo. So in other words, if there's like a CAD report or a 911 or something that the sheriff has, it'll automatically pull those from that agency. And, then they'll take like the town of New Windsor report and automatically put it in one file. So there's AI for that. In terms of sorting through the things, we're a little afraid to use AI. And when you go to the statewide prosecution conferences, there's all kinds of horror stories about, lawyers who try to take shortcuts to use AI and don't, look or check the results. So some agencies, notably special narcotics in New York City, and we're following this. We're going to put the brakes on our staff using AI in terms of any kind of analysis of anything, because you really need a lawyer to look at it because you can't trust the results.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a huge undertaking for your office with all this video that's coming through. So I wonder if there's any way that we can expedite it. But you said you're working on software for that.
They're working on software for that, and among the things the software will do, again, this is what the salesmen are telling us, but it's supposed to do things like automatically recognize a social security number so you can automatically redact it, that kind of information.
Okay, anything else? All right, we're good. So I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you so much. Okay, next we have probation director, Mr. Vivian. We have letter A is request to accept and appropriate funds as a subcontractor for the Orange County District Attorney's Office. Discovery Reform Grant funds will be used to fund one principal clerk position, which will be responsible for the implementation and operation of computer systems to support discovery information sharing. The amount is $128,200. It's legislative request 339. Wrong. Second. Jenna. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Chris Bork and Dave Hubler for making these funds available to the probation department. While we get a lot of our materials directly from local courts, we're relying on the district attorney's office for anything that comes out of county court. So we'll get a pre-sentence investigation order from the court, but we're relying on the district attorney for the indictment, the SCI, the arrest reports, all that other additional paperwork. We had originally thought that we could computerize the process early on when the grant first came out, that we're not there yet. So in conversations with Dave and Chris, we decided to fund a principal clerk's position, and that person is full-time working on getting paperwork back and forth from the district attorney's office and county court on all felony cases.
I think that's better anyway, because you have someone physically carrying it. Does anybody have any questions for the director? Okay, not seeing any. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you. We're on to letter B, which is a request supplemental appropriations of additional funds in the amount of $1,396.03 received from the New York State Office of Victim Services for the Crime Victim Assistance Program. This will increase the funds to be received in resolution number 300 of 2025 from $397,928.05 to $399,323.08 for the period of 10/1/2025 to 9/30/2026. The Office of the Victim Services previously awarded the probation program a grant for the period of 10/1/2022 to 9/30/2025. This is being granted a one-year extension for the period of 10/1/2025 to 9/30/2026 due to RFP issues on the state level. This is legislative request 365. Janet. Okay, Director.
This was a little bit of an interesting situation. The Office of Victim Services made, I believe it was 165 awards statewide to victim services programs. After the award letters went out, we came before the legislature and accepted those funds. The state controller rescinded every award letter because they found that there was an error in the RFP process on the state level. The solution from the Office of Victim Services was to roll everyone's funding back to the 24-25 levels and to do one-year extensions. So after a 3-month RFP process during 2025 that we thought was going to be good for 3 years, we will have to do that again next year. But fortunately for us, since there was a rollback, we actually saw a slight increase in our funding, as opposed to 25 of those new programs were not funded because of the way they did the rollback. So we wound up a little bit in better shape than we had anticipated, and we'll just roll that in to cover some additional salary and fringe benefits.
Any questions from any legislators? Okay, not seeing any, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, on to letter C. Request to accept and appropriate funds from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services to offset the costs associated with the provision of certified pretrial services, including but not limited to screening, assessment, supervision, and reporting provided in the enacted state fiscal year 2025 to 2026. The amount is $1,159,722. It's legislative request 366. Second. Janet.
This is year 4 of increased pretrial funding from the state. Year 1 was about 870,000 and went to about 822, was down to 798, and now is up to almost $1.2 million. We are not sure if that funding stream will continue into the future. As when they sent this award letter out, they said, keep spending it until there's no more left, which is kind of unusual wording for them to use. But we are well positioned in this program. Our pretrial cases went from approximately 65 or 70 4 years ago to this year we're on course for over 200. We had one part-time or half-time probation officer assigned to that caseload. We now have 1.8 seniors, another full-time officer, and a half a supervisor. So this grant allows us to not only pay their salaries, which are in excess of $500,000, but also to allow funding for a training area, for computer equipment, for some interactive journaling and other programmings, and for training, staff training that we can bring people in, plus also bring people in for training for the offenders. So such as with our juvenile, our raised age population, our officers are spending a lot of time right now doing college applications. So we could actually bring in a training or bring in technology to help get those applications processed, as opposed to basically the probationer sitting 6 inches away from the officer and having to actually use their computer to do things. So we submitted a tentative budget to the state for about $870,000. So I know that we have at least a year and a half's worth of money for this initiative, and then we still have leftover money from last year.
Fantastic. Any questions for the director? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you so much.
Happy
Have a
holidays,
nice
everyone.
holiday. Okay, on to number 4. We have the Sheriff's Department. You see, we have Under Sheriff Mallard, and we have the Chief.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hello.
Oh, and we have Jim DeSalva
Always.
as well, always.
He's the backup. Exactly.
Okay, so we have letter A, request supplemental appropriation for fiscal year 2025, increase to other revenues from $6,363,000 by $1,500,000 to a total of $7,863,000 to cover increases to expenses in various budget lines. This does not affect county taxation. Medical services will be 200,000, food will be 700,000, electrical supplies is 300,000 for the HVAC fix. OT will be 250,000, and pharmacy drugs will be 50,000. This is legislative request 333. Okay. You're looking at each other, so who's speaking?
Yeah, it's just an increase to revenue to cover some additional expenses that we've come up through the year, just with the different increased populations and some different pricing too, especially medical services that, came through a contract. We didn't know until after it was approved.
I was gonna say, and this year there were a lot of increases, and it's always hard to actually budget for something that you're not really sure where it's gonna be.
And food's been astronomical too, so.
And our population's up from last year as well, so that helps.
Fantastic. Does anybody know? The chairman has a question.
Where are the funds coming from? Is it from ICE revenue or,
Yes,
so you're just shuffling your budget a little bit?
well, we didn't know, based on contractual for ICE that, where we were gonna be. So with the new contract came new revenues.
Right, okay, thank you.
All right, I'll call the question if no one says any other questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Letter B, request to accept and appropriate grant funds from the Division of Criminal Justice Services Public Safety Program for operating expenses to support emergency services. It's in the amount of $25,000. This is legislative request 340.
Second.
Okay, sorry. I'm freezing.
Here's my phone.
I'm freezing that seat too. I think it's because of that.
Sorry,
Every time. Okay, I'm sorry.
So this is an entitlement grant that we were awarded by DCJS. We did not apply for this grant, they just gave it to us, so how nice is that? It was for
That's
Christmas.
great.
For Christmas.
Christmas present.
Yeah, so it is for, basically it's to help with operating costs. We're working right now with our DCJS grant rep to figure out what project to attach it to. Most likely, we're going to use it for maintaining and servicing equipment that we've purchased previously on other DCJS grants. And that's what it's looking like we'll use it for now, probably for things like UTVs, the light towers, trailers that need constant upkeep. And a lot of those items were purchased on grants from this same. So as of now, that's what we're looking to do with it.
Sounds good. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll call the order. All in favor? Anybody opposed? All right, that passes. Letter C, request to accept and appropriate $750,000 in grant funds over the next 3 years from the Office of Community Oriented Policing Services for the purpose of funding new deputy sheriff positions. This is legislative request 341.
Second.
Rob, Janet. Okay.
So this is a federal grant that we've tried to secure in the past unsuccessfully. Finally, we're getting it for the first time. It's very competitive. We compete with every department in the country in order to secure one of these grants. And essentially, it is a taxpayer-friendly way to bring in additional law enforcement to the county. It's something that obviously we know, you all know, we've come talking to you about over the last 12 months. We've come presenting to you all of the mandates that have been put on the sheriff's office, the increased requirements, programs that we have to supply. Also, this sheriff is very aggressive with securing grants to find ways to pay for the additional services that we want to bring to the county, things like our fly car, our CDE program. Bringing in these additional deputies is going to help us keep those programs running on a more regular basis so that we can do these things. Just even simple things like putting bikes out onto the trail can be difficult sometimes because of our manpower, and we have to do these things on overtime. So this will really be a game changer. We know this county is growing really fast, and we have to, grow with it to meet the needs.
That's wonderful to know. It's nice that you don't have extra bodies on, keep it alive.
He's asked. Yeah.
Thank you, Legislator Saxon.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Yes, Legislator Spear.
How many deputies would this hire, and is this just to get them initially on the payroll?
Yes.
And when do they stay when the grant finishes?
So the way that this is to help get them onto the payroll. It goes over, we have 5 years to spend the money. So we have 5 years to get all of the 6 hired. It's for 6 deputy positions. And it's to help offset the cost until that 5 years is over. We find a way that we're going to fund them through making changes to our budget, increasing the budget, however we're going to do it, going on from that. But we have 5 years to utilize the grant to get them introduced.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That passed. Letter D, request to create one grant-funded deputy sheriff's drive, which is the statewide targeted reduction in intimate partner violence investigator position at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. This is legislative request 236.
So
Second.
Gentlemen,
So I know some of you were in personnel and
Yes.
compensation on Monday, so we did discuss this
we did
already.
pass unanimously.
Yes, it did. So just to give just a really quick, we've talked about it in here as well. I think a few months ago, we voted in, you voted in to accept the Strive grant. It's a new state program that's going to operate similarly to GIVE, but instead of focusing on gun violence elimination, this is going to focus on prosecution of domestic violence offenders. So there's a bunch of different partner agencies within the county, the Strive jurisdictions, like GIVE, we're statistically driven how they determine what the locations would be. It's City of Newburgh, City of Middletown, and New Windsor, sorry, yes. So that's where we're gonna be focusing initially. There is talk about, expanding this in the future. The other partner agencies are probation, the district attorney's office, and Fearless is working with us as well. I can say that we already, we worked with them to decide that our department was the appropriate one to take on the investigator position, who's going to act as a liaison between all of these different agencies, also assisting the DA's office with securing what we were hoping is more felony convictions in these serious cases. And then he'll also assist all the other departments that are involved with their investigations. He'll work with Fearless as the law enforcement liaison to help connect victims with proper services. I do know we've already selected the investigator, and he's been attending a lot of training over this last year. So it's been in the planning stage for the last year. One of the first things that we're going to do, where we're actually going to take some of this Strive program and bring it to the rest of the county, is that all of our deputies are going to be trained in a risk assessment tool. So if they're going and responding to any domestic violence situations anywhere in the county, all of our deputies are going to be trained to implement this risk assessment tool in order to identify when there are certain things that need to be addressed that maybe would be missed when a deputy on the scene is not trained in this way. That's one thing that we're going to be doing right after the new year. This particular deputy will be training everybody in the department. So it's a really exciting program. I think it's going to be a really dynamic role that's going to change as the program evolves. And I'll bring the deputy here, actually. That's going to be the investigator, so you can meet him. I think he's going to do a really great job.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions from anyone? Okay, not seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, letter E, request to create 2 law enforcement associate grade 5 positions. LEA positions will be apprentice-like opportunities designed to introduce high school graduates to various aspects of the operations of the sheriff's office and the law enforcement profession. It's legislative request 364.
Second.
So
Skip you. Who's on that side? That's a secondary. Eric. Okay, great. This also was on
Yes.
Mondays and passed as well. So
And just for those who are not familiar with this program, this is something that we've been working on for the last 2 years with HR. This is a program the sheriff had put me with the Department of Labor because they are working on similar apprenticeship programs with other police departments in the state. After working with them a little bit and looking at some of their programs, we decided that we wanted to do something that was a little bit more tailored to Orange County specifically. So we've been working with Commissioner Chapman to put this program together. And really, there's a lot of problems with recruiting and retention of police in New York State and the sheriff's office. We do have a difficult time sometimes recruiting younger people. They come in, they don't stay, it costs us a lot of money. When deputies decide to leave the sheriff's office, if they decide to go to another police department, we cannot seek reimbursement from those departments, whereas they can seek reimbursement from us. We did have a deputy that decided to go on to another police department, And that reimbursement, if we were able to get it, would have been almost $60,000. So when we bring people in and it's a revolving door, it's not a great thing. The other issue that we have a lot of times now is a lot of these younger people coming on the list are unable to pass the background and the psychological exam. There's issues where we have candidates that just are not suitable candidates. So in order to kind of find other more creative ways to find people who are appropriate to, come into this line of work, this program is going to help maybe young people who didn't have the college credits but could be excellent candidates who want to be policing the communities where they're from, bringing them in as a grade 5 CSEA employee, and they'll come in and work all of the administrative duties of the sheriff's office. They'll come learn all of the things that we do, assist the deputies, work the desk, all of the things, work in our civil office. And then after they finish their probationary period of 18 months, if they like us and we think that they're a suitable candidate, they'll be allowed to take the deputy sheriff test as a promotional exam. And it'll be a time and grade plus 30 credits. And if they don't have the 30 credits, we're going to help them get it through our college reimbursement program. And I know in the packet, there's a description that HR wrote of what that is. We're really excited about this program. It's something very different.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
great. It gives a lot of the kids that maybe don't have the resources to get that so that they can apply the opportunity to actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. Yes. I'm just gonna say-
I think it's a great program. I'm excited. I think it's an ingenious idea. My question was, I was here on Monday. I know Langdon had said that they're basically hired under his department and then placed in your department.
Mhm.
Are we gonna have to hire those positions under HR? I'm not sure.
That I think that he's already gonna maybe have interns working from HR and then they can apply. The way I'm understanding is that they're gonna apply to us and we have a whole hiring panel that we select from. So I think that they'll come in as our grade 5, but as far as how they get there, that would probably be more of a question for Lincoln, for Commissioner Chapman.
I think you mentioned something about the position needs a year of experience.
Yeah.
And that
They're
you would
gonna
be
yes.
hired
6 months.
into 6 months.
6 months.
And a lot of that has to do with the age because they can't go into the police academy until they're 21 to carry a weapon. So a lot of it is to get them to the age that they need and also to give them time if we have to help them get the credits. So there was some reasoning for that if we want it, because the idea is we want to take young people from the high schools. But we have right now through the county's apprenticeship program, we have a young man who just came a couple days ago who comes from Middletown. And I was talking to him and he doesn't have any college experience and his father brought him and was so ecstatic for him to be there, telling me this is a dream for his son to come and do this kind of a job. And to me, like that is the kind of person that I'm looking for in this position. Somebody who didn't have the opportunity to go to school, but is interested in the job. So that's really what we're looking for, to open up this opportunity to more young people in the county and show them how great the sheriff's office is as a place to work. And I'm not just saying that because we have the best sheriff, because we do, but it's a really great place.
It's a Christmas.
And we have a great undersheriff too, so yeah, it's a very good place.
Okay, let's later.
You mentioned something about the psychological test. So if someone didn't pass the psychological test, they could go through this program and
They would still
vetted.
have
So-
to. They would still have to pass that as part of to be,
Oh,
yes.
okay. So if they failed, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think that once, the whole idea is that they'll have been working there for almost 2 years at this point. We're gonna hopefully have a pretty good sense of what kind of candidate this is
Okay, before they take the test.
before they even take
Okay,
the test.
I must have
Yeah.
misunderstood.
And that's actually a requirement to become a
Right.
police officer now in a lot of the law changes. Before they go into the police academy, they have to go to Albany and take this particular psychological test. But we're gonna know these people, because when we take people off the list, they're coming in for a panel interview for 30 minutes. We don't really know that much about them. And yeah, we do a pretty extensive background, but you don't really know the person from these small interactions. And then they're going out there and a lot of times, the issues that come up are too much marijuana use, things like this. And then they come back as being unsuitable. But this person is gonna have worked in our department for
Right.
quite some time. So I think we'll have a good idea, and they'll have a good idea if this is the kind of, career that they want to embark on as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Letter F is the corrections report.
Good afternoon. So for the month of November, our average daily population was 451. Our average ICE detainees are 168. Currently, we have 21 vacancies, but we are going to be starting a new academy next Monday with 11, so that'll put us down to about 10 by the end of the year. However, we are looking at least people eligible to retire next year. Don't know how many right now. We just have 2 that have put in January, but I'm expecting as the year goes on more because we have a lot that'll hit their 25 next year. So we're just trying to keep up with the expectation we're going to be losing some next year. And our revenue year to date for borders is $4,254,000. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at last year. Thank you. You're right. 6,825,000. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions on the report? Okay, thank you so much. We'll go on to the sheriff's report.
We had 2 of our COs actually came and into the police academy and graduated last month, so we're really excited to be bringing them from the jail and out front into becoming deputies. I know, yeah, she's not on the sheriff's deputy hat. I did coach 2 very well. We're very happy because they're excellent. They were excellent employees in the jail. They're going to be excellent deputies out on patrol, and it's always nice to see people, you know, coming from the back and wanting to come out and do policing. So we're really excited to bring them out. And then other than that, I'll bring up that our commercial vehicle enforcement unit is, as always, taking dangerous vehicles off the roads of Orange County. And 2 of the highlights for this month, 2 of the most egregious offenders, were one that was in our detail in the town of Woodbury. We stopped a dump truck that's pictured there in this report. And he had, during the safety violation, they identified, the safety check, they identified 17 violations, 4 that were overweight violations, 3 that were out of service violations. That truck was 46% overweight, had 4 defective tires, and when they stopped it, the cargo was untarped and blowing all over the road. Also, last month, we had a detail in the town of Hamptonburg, and they stopped a truck and trailer combination that was operating on a county roadway. Also, that other dump truck was also operating on the county roadway. And during that safety inspection, they found a total of 7 violations that were all out of service violations. That driver did not possess a DOT medical certificate. He had unsecured dunnage. I had to look up what that was because I'm not a DOT guy, so I didn't know what that was. I guess it's a waste product. He had unsecured dunnage and unsecured cargo, defective brakes, and a shifted rear axle that was caused by loose bolts of the spring hanger assembly. So another dangerous vehicle. I saw a picture of that when it was all rusted out and the cargo was like not attached. So.
I just have to say how much I love this. I know it's awful to love this part of your report every month, but like sometimes when I'm driving down the highway, I hold my breath, like when I'm passing a truck. I'm like, oh my God, what if it's one of them?
Or you can
Like your reports go through my head as I'm approaching a truck. I'm like, oh God, please don't let this be one of them. You know, and I know.
Well, that's why I bring these up because I feel like it's a serious safety issue that affects everybody. And I want you to know that they are out there doing this stuff regularly. I mean, I think that we're up to, at this point, their request is so much. I mean, I think they're doing like 10 details a month. It's a lot. And they're getting these kind of vehicles. This is just 2. There, you can see the numbers. They're getting a lot of vehicles off the road that shouldn't be on there.
Is there a lot of commercial vehicle accidents in the county?
I don't know if there's a lot of commercial vehicle accidents, probably less because they're out there getting them off the road, I would hope. But I mean, they cause a lot of damage to the roads too. I mean, it costs a lot of money. There's a lot of wear and tear. And you know, we've had several incidents with like turned over trucks where then we're having to close roads for hours on end and clean it up. And so I don't know. I could get the numbers of how many commercial vehicle accidents. I could look into that. But I mean, these are people that you definitely don't want driving around you.
I would just like to see if there was a trend, you know.
There might be. And we have a lot of commercial vehicle traffic in Orange County because of all the warehouses and everything else.
I'm sure, I mean, commerce has got to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But it'd be nice to see if there was numbers, to see if the statistics going down or something. That'd be nice.
I can get that.
Yes.
Yeah, just to the point you made, probably not necessarily the biggest issue, but a major issue is the damage it does to the road.
It does.
By overweight vehicles and bridges, so.
Sure. And that costs a lot of taxpayer money too.
definitely. And my question is, the second one in Hampton,
Mhm.
I'm assuming that that was, just maybe a contractor or a personal person that was taking stuff with the trailer in their truck.
That, I don't know. I'd have to find out what type of vehicle it was. They just wrote in the report that they gave me that it was a tractor trailer combination. So I'm not sure if it was a personal vehicle or if it was a commercial
Yeah, it
vehicle.
looks, yeah, just
It could
when usually when it's a truck and trailer and it's just rubbish
It
that's
could
in the
be.
back, it could be someone that was cleaning something. Because a lot of the, personal people who have the bigger trucks or the dump trucks or, stuff like that, there still is requirements on the DOT stuff.
Oh, there
Where you
is,
are
yeah.
as far as the weight of the truck and the trailer and what you're hauling.
Yeah, unsecured cargo is unsecured cargo, no matter who's.
Yeah,
pulling it.
Definitely. All right, well, any questions on the report to this? Thank you so much. Before. Okay, all right, have a nice holiday. Next on the agenda is, Legislator Janet Sutherland, Chair for the Rules Enactment and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. You want to stay here, or you want to look that way? So he's gonna see it. You want to put you on the hot seat?
So I wanted to,
Step back.
just bring, forth back, and it was actually almost 4 years to the date, I think it's December 5th. In 2021, we had on the floor, we had brought a resolution forward, urging the state and the FDA to, guidelines and protocols regarding kratom.
I don't want to cut you off. I gotta read the resolution before you start
Oh, go
talking
ahead,
about
sorry.
it. This is letter A, local law prohibiting the sale of kratom to individuals under the age of 21 in Orange County. Can I get a motion? Rob
Second.
and Barry. Okay, now you can continue.
So we made, we sent that up state, and it's sad. Nobody really did anything about it. And then just a few months ago, the FDA finally released something saying that, they recognize the dangers of kratom. They recognize how they're targeting our youth. They are, the distributors, the people who are selling kratom, they are targeting our youth by making them flavored. They're making them, birthday cake, sugar cookie, cotton candy. And they're really focusing on getting our youth to, in my opinion, getting our youth to buy this from them. I'm not going to dispute that it is something that does help some people when they're going through opioid withdrawal. But if you recall, back in 2021, we had families come and speak of their children who had died, not necessarily from kratom per se, but from the side effects of kratom. Anyway, here we are. Once the FDA had released that, it was very important to me that we kind of jump on this again. I'm very grateful to legal counsel. Thank you so much for your time and attention to this matter. So anyway, the local law is, again, we have to go with baby steps. We can't ban this completely. However, what we can do is take steps to make sure that our youth are not getting their hands on this. So this is a local law asking, this is a local law prohibiting the sale of kratom to anyone under the age of 21. It comes in pill form, it comes in liquid form, leaf form, and it's just being distributed and sold, and it is extremely, extremely dangerous. So that is the local law banning the sale of kratom to anyone 21 and under.
Okay, we have a couple questions.
Yeah, I did get a call the other day from a town councilman in my district, knew somebody who had a pretty serious heroin problem for a while, managed to get clean, was clean for 7 or 8 years, and then discovered kratom and was addicted to that just as bad as he was heroin.
Well, and what's happening is that it actually is much more expensive.
Mhm.
So then once you can't afford that anymore,
Right,
now
he
you're
said the
going back
addiction was
to
just as bad,
the
if not
heroin
worse,
use.
as when he was on heroin.
So, and I'm sure, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I'm sure we all got that letter from constituents, I believe of Legislator Fagione, of a few months ago, a couple of months ago, I think it was like in October, talking about their son. And again, it wasn't kratom that killed their son, but it was the side effects and it was everything associated with kratom.
Okay, you just said you sassy.
Yeah, a couple of questions. Isn't this on the governor's desk?
So
Isn't there something?
So finally, yesterday,
Yeah.
S4552 was called up.
Okay.
However, it's been sitting there collecting dust for well over a year.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, she's called it up now. Hopefully she does something with it, but, I mean, I had spoken to our President's office, our senator's office, urging them to put pressure on the governor to do this months ago. And nothing happened.
So it's sitting there.
Yes.
The second question I asked Betsy about it too, should we consider adding kratom and its derivatives? Because kratom also has a bunch of other subsets to it. And first of all, I think it's wonderful. I think it's a non-political item. It's a safety issue. I think we all know someone that's been affected by this, and look no further than any deli you go into, stop and get gas, and you go inside and you see it, and it's quite alarming. So, I applaud the legislature, both sides of the aisle that have supported this, but I know there are the derivatives. Betsy, I'd asked you about that. I don't know if that, Matt, I mean, you just have kratom. Do we add and/or its derivatives?
Well, actually, under the definition of kratom in this local law, it also means products derived from the
From
plant
that,
species
okay, so we're
itself.
covered.
And the compound itself, which is 7-OH.
Right.
Which stands for a much larger word that I'm not gonna try and pronounce.
Yeah.
But that was actually in the report that legislator Sutherland had mentioned from the FDA, noting that the derivative, the synthesized products themselves have larger amounts that could potentially lead to, the more fatal instances of use of this product.
And also, if I may, we do have a letter of support from the Police Chiefs Association. We have a letter
District Attorney.
of support from the District Attorney, just waiting to hear from the Sheriff's Department. So I'm very happy with the support that we've received so far and what we can do with this.
Can we have Kathy read this?
Thank you for being there.
Hydro.
It's a little bit worse than prosecutor.
Oh, you gotta be. Wait, hydroxymitron.
That's all right.
Hydrox.
That's 7-OH.
Trash.
That's why they say 7-OH.
I forget the next one because
I know.
it's that psycho whatever.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you. Yeah, no,
I
thank
have
you,
to have
Kat. It's
all
great.
this
I'm glad.
beforehand so I could actually know what to say. Yes, legislative.
In terms of enforcement, it seems like this would kind of fall under the same jurisdiction as the health department does with the underage sale of tobacco products.
So what would happen is they would distribute a letter to everybody that sells kratom and putting them on notice that this is what the deal is. They can do like a little, I don't want to call it a sting, but they can do this, where they go out and try to catch them from doing it. My understanding, Betsy, help me if I'm wrong, the first two offenses would probably be fines, 500 and 1,000 or something along those lines, and then it would go to a misdemeanor. Or
It would really be within the purview of the DA's office. In terms of the possibilities that lay here would be either fines or misdemeanor. Historically, when I did speak to the DA, he mentioned that it would likely be fines, but obviously it would be indicative of, clear case by case basis. So.
Okay, Chairman Hines.
Yeah, just some good news. Not only did you get good press on this yesterday, Legislator Sutherland, but we were contacted by another county that wants to jump on and ask for a copy of this as written so that they too could jump on, ride your coattails.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's great. So I would obviously appreciate everyone's support with this endeavor.
Okay, any further questions? All right, we'll call the question on letter A for the local law prohibiting the sale. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, and then the second is the resolution of the Orange County Legislature urging the New York State Legislature and Governor to ban the sale of kratom in the state of New York, and in the interim, requesting the governor to sign the bill, Senate 4552A and Assembly A2340 into law. Can I get a motion?
Yeah.
Who's the second? Barry. Okay.
Okay, so I think that's pretty
I think we
self-explanatory.
pretty much covered that one and so forth, so everybody in favor for that?
Right.
Yeah, that passed. Does everybody want to sponsor these?
Yeah, I think that's a
Okay.
good idea, yeah.
I want to do it.
The good news is that this did pass unanimously yesterday on Human Services. It's not necessary because our rules meeting is canceled due to lack of a quorum. It's not necessary that this, go through another committee. And then regarding rules, the position for Kelly Eskew, our county clerk, that was taken care of, correct? And then the other two items will move to ways and means. I'm not missing out on any business.
Great, great.
Okay, I think that clears our desk and just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you so much.